Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Yvonne Bignall and I am the UK G100 Healthcare and Wellness Wing Country Chair. G100 is a global network of women across the globe, across different sectors, coming together to create an equal, progressive and inclusive environment for women worldwide. The big vision is to provide the thought leadership on what needs to be done for inclusivity, safety, economics and social empowerment of women globally. In the UK, as the Healthcare and Wellness Wing, we have created our very specific mission, which is all around empowering women and their health. We are set to do three very specific things: educate women so they can maintain good health, encourage women to assertively advocate for their well-being, their mind, body and soul, and empower women to critically evaluate their health options and challenge the status quo, challenging norms and busting myths.
Hello, thank you for joining us. If you're watching us, welcome to Vicky as well, who's joining me today. We are really excited to talk to you about the power of food in helping your immune health. So why is this important? Well, you know, your immune health is quite complex, isn't it? We're quite complex as human beings. And, you know, we just want to bring to the fore really some of the things that we think it's important to think about that you can do to help boost your immune health. So our immune health involves our skin, it involves our gut, it involves how much sleep we have, how we manage our stress. But really, one of the things we wanted to focus on is a massive part of our immune health revolves around what we eat, how we eat, and really some things we want to help you take away from today. We're going to share some top tips with you as well on some of the things that you can do to improve your immune health, not just now as we are in the autumn / winter season, because it's coughs, colds and flu season. You know, we wanted to bring this to you now, but obviously helping to support immune health is important all year round, isn't it? You know, we want to prevent illness and not wait for things to go wrong with our health and well-being. So we want to feel empowered and in control of some of our choices, all of our choices, but certainly some of our choices around food that can make a massive difference to our immune health. And I know, for example, around 70-ish% of your immune health resides in your gut. So it's really important that we can think about and feel that we are in control of the food choices we make to help us feel good and prevent illness, and to build that resilience with our health and stay strong and fit and live a long and happy life for as long as possible. You know, that we know in life things are sent to try us and we don't always know what's going to happen, but we can take control of that. So let's stop waffling, Marie, and I'll introduce myself. So I'm Marie Brobin and my background is in traditional Chinese medicine. So I've been an acupuncturist for 13.5 years. My passion is helping to empower people to help themselves. So helping to educate women, men, children, it doesn't matter what age, we all have a role to play in taking responsibility for our health and well-being and helping ourselves, you know, to avoid the doctor surgery and to live that long, happy, healthy life for longevity and vitality. So I do that through Chinese medicine, and I also help people with their lifestyle as well. So lifestyle choices. So that is me, and I'm happy to share my experience, knowledge, and some tips for you today. But we've also got the lovely Vicky here. Vicky, I'm going to hand over to you, and you can introduce yourself as well.
Hi Marie, thank you. So I'm Vicky. I'm a living nutrition and Reiki practitioner. So very much passionate in supporting people with their overall physical, mental and emotional well-being. And that's looking at nourishing our bodies and, you know, through the power of food, but also what we feed our minds, let's say toxic loads, environment, interpersonal relationships. So all that. And so I'm happy, you know, support people that way. And obviously with Reiki, it's one of those things that, you know, we're all energy, and if we get blockages, sometimes that just causes some disruption in the body. So again, it's very much focusing on harvesting, you know, your own, you say, taking responsibility for your own health and well-being and supporting it the best we can. So I mean, very much food first approach. Looking out for, you know, what we put into our bodies is, you know, is our choice and our responsibility. I know it's not always easy sometimes, but yeah, it's definitely the way to go with immune health, because we can, you know, it's looking after our bodies in the way that it will look after us, because our bodies are amazing. They do fantastic jobs all the time. We don't have to think about what it's doing. It's fighting off illness and disease and things all the time, but we don't have to think about it. But yeah, this time of year it comes to the forefront of everyone's minds, because like I say, it's cough cold season. Plus I think marketing is a big thing there, because, you know, you get now all the products coming out, come on, boost your immune system, take this, take that, you know, and very much I understand why that happens, but it is a big marketing thing, and so we really should be looking after our immune system 365 days a year. You know, it's not something that we're expected, you know, if you've got a cough, that's it, it's going to start boosting and working. It's something that's always working in the background, but needs to be powered up when we need it. So having a good, so having the good basis is going to be that if you need it, it's ready to play ball and, you know, kick those bugs out of the way, rather than, you know, thinking, oh, I'm only going to look after it now because I've got a bit of a sniffle. So, you know, it's also making sure that you're not having that underlying levels of inflammation, because if your immune system is always turned on, you're going to get loads of, you know, this underlying level of inflammation all the time, which actually makes you feel worse and leads to things like autoimmune disease. So by like, you know, harvesting the you know, the best of our bodies throughout the year, like I say, when it's needed, it'll be efficient and effective against illness. So yeah, it's definitely the food first.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think, you know, we are both coming from a health point of view in a holistic sense, aren't we? In our practices, how we help our patients and clients, and but how we live our lives as well, in terms of, you know, it's about addressing root cause, it's about starting with the basics and really understanding how we can influence our own health. It's not waiting for the symptoms to occur and then, you know, like you say about the marketing stuff, where you've got cough, cold, sneeze, let's just treat that symptom. It's about treating the inside of your whole body to keep it strong and resilient, and to protect us so that we can you know, bounce back from whatever viruses and bacterial infections and all sorts. There's stuff out there, we know, we live alongside it all the time. I mean, COVID taught us that hasn't really gone away, has it? So we just need to live the best life possible, and understand the connection we have with food. And also for me, food is the big thing, because we all have access to food. Most people have choice around food. I know that's not always an easy choice for some people, but I think when we talk about the power of food, there is so much connected to what we put in our body, to how it responds and how it reacts and helps us to heal, repair, you know, fight disease, but also to work at its optimal level, because that's what we want, really. We want to reduce that inflammation, because there's so many longer term chronic illnesses that are centered around inflammation. You know, lots of, we can talk about the obvious ones like osteoarthritis, but there are also other conditions, autoimmune conditions, like you've said, that are responding to what's happening in the gut through what's either not balanced, or what we're doing to our digestive system by not putting the right nutrients in. So there might be some basics here that people are aware of around food, like we know vitamin C, we talk about vitamin D. These are the sort of vitamins and minerals. Zinc is another one for immune health. We all maybe have heard of and talk about. But what does that mean in terms of, we don't want to get too sciencey here. We know that we need vitamins and minerals. So what does that mean in terms of food choices for people? And how much of that can we get in our food, and how much should we be getting in our food? How do we go about helping our immune system to be the best it can be through our food choices? So yeah, we can hear about, certainly heard about it through COVID, didn't we, about the importance of vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc and all of that stuff. But where does this sit within our food? You know, what types of food should we be having to help give us that strong, resilient immune health that's going to help us thrive?
Yes, so it's nourishing our gut health, really, as you said earlier about the immune system, and so it's without, let's say, getting sciencey, we all heard about the microbiome, which is the good bacteria in our gut. So it's basically, it's harvesting them. You know, it's like, it's planting seeds in a garden and then you feed them. And that's what we need to do with the bacteria in our gut. So the probiotics are like putting the seeds in. So that's the foods, like fermented foods. So you'll hear things of like kimchi, sauerkraut, like, you know, full fat yogurts that aren't, you know, sugar-free ones at all, but like full fat, things like kefir drinks, kombuchas. Those are your, you know, your probiotics. So that's like planting the seeds. Then you feed those with the fiber, the good fiber. So it's lots of plenty of vegetables. So that, you know, so then they feed on that, which then provides a really lovely, safe place for your immune system to thrive. So it's providing the body with all these antioxidants, which is another word that you people hear, and that comes from the colours. So when you say people, let's say eat the rainbow, it's not just jargon. It is actually, the more colourful the vegetables are, those are the things that will then have different, like polyphenols, the antioxidants will all support different variant jobs within the cells. So with vitamin C, it's something that you can get from green vegetables, you can get them from fruits, but again, it's not about, oh, now I'm going to start taking a vitamin C supplement. I get it, you know, not everyone's diet has every vitamin and mineral in it. And also with the quality of foods nowadays, we aren't getting the best we could.
Yeah.
So supplements are sometimes needed, but day to day, really, you can get these vitamins and minerals from food. So you're looking at, you know, I'd say plenty of fiber, which are bioactive foods as well. So they're things like your garlic, your onions, things like cinnamon, turmeric, rosemary, cloves, all your spices and herbs. They all help towards feeding that gut bacteria to promote good immune system.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of more like avoiding things like the ultra processed foods that have got loads of sugars and unnatural ingredients. So general rule is, I say, like if you pick up something in a supermarket and the first thing on it says sugar, then it's something I probably would not be buying. And then if it's got a long list of ingredients that are stuff especially that you wouldn't find in your kitchen cupboard, and then these words that just sound chemical, then I just wouldn't, you know, I'd avoid them if possible. You know, I know I'm not demonizing food and I'm not telling people what to eat, but for helping your health, these are the foods that probably aren't the best way to go. So, you know, it's eating, I say whole foods. Let's say go back to basics. Whole foods are the best way to go. Beans, nuts, seeds, grains, you know, unrefined grains, all amazing things to feed the body with, will all promote good health. And cooking in things like extra virgin olive oil, because again, they've got like one of the highest amounts of polyphenol antioxidants. So these refined seed oils are not really the healthiest way. So if you're cooking, it's your extra virgin olive oil, or even drizzling on vegetable salads or whatever. And it's just making nice homemade meals that don't take a long time to make. And, you know, you can easily, you know, put a few ingredients together and within a few minutes have a lovely meal. So, you know, it is just having that diversity as well is the big thing. So, you know, it's making, you know, it's not just sticking, if you just have one vegetable all the time and that's it, that's not going to be the way to go. You do.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that because for some people, they might think lots of vegetables or lots of fruit and vegetables, they might not like many or have much of a variety in their diet, or they might be, you're just a little bit sort of choosy about which ones they prefer to eat. So it's not necessarily about having one or two vegetables and lots of them, is it? It's about trying to have the variety and the diversity. I love Eat the Rainbow. Yeah, I've heard that many times before, but it is about getting the gut bacteria nice and diverse, isn't it? So that it gives that resilience, and it's like, I like to refer to it like your soldiers in your army or in the control room. You know, when if you wouldn't have an army full of all just privates or captains, you have different levels of ability to fight and defend and strategize and send messages and communicate. So there's all different levels of gut bacteria, isn't there? And I like the fact that, you know, you talk about the diversity and variety, because that's really important. So it is important to think about back to basics, isn't it, really? I think that's what you're saying there, Vicky, is around ultra processed foods. Obviously, the nutrition is taken out of some of the food because of the processing, the things that has to happen to it to make it into a ready meal, or I don't know what, however it's packed and packaged and arrives. So when you talk about whole foods, you're talking about things that haven't had any or very little processing or any at all, really is best, because you can cook from home. You can sort of do things yourself to make things more flavorful, season, combine ingredients to make it into a meal, rather than relying on packaged food and ultra processed, which has more salt, sugar, and all those other things that we need to be careful
Yeah.
of with our health. So for me, I know people have said to me before about eating organically. What's in season is really important as well. That's something I teach my clients, my coaching clients, my acupuncture clients as well, about eating what is readily available in season, because it has more energy, it has more nutritional value, better for us, because that's how we're meant to be eating. But often people, I think, feel, or I've had feedback from people saying, well, it's a bit expensive to eat organically, costs more money. And to eat fresh all the time, it costs more money because fruit and vegetables can be expensive. So it isn't necessarily about, for me, isn't necessarily about having everything perfect. It's about including what you can in your diet, but also finding ways to make it more affordable and easier to do. Because some people might be listening to us now and saying, well, I haven't got the time to cook from home. I haven't got the time to do all these homemade meals that are going to help my immune system. I haven't got enough money to do it. I don't know how to do it. Some people might not be that clued up on cooking, and they might not have been taught recipes, or they might not have that knowledge. So for me, what I tend to say to people who have those feelings and those thoughts about healthy eating is just think differently about how you approach your shopping, for example. So we all know that things get reduced. So things get reduced in supermarkets. You could shop when things are likely to be reduced. I'm going dark here as the sun's moving around. Sorry, but can you still see me?
Yeah, you're fine.
um, but so that there's this wonky vegetables that don't look good on the shelf, that are often reduced, but you can buy them at a much cheaper price. Frozen vegetables are a good way to go, because it limits your waste as well. So have a think about how you shop, where you shop as well. Places like Lidl are a little bit cheaper for their fruit and veg, but equally as fresh. And I know they do sometimes free fruit and veg boxes at the end of the till, things that might well be thrown away because they're not going to get used. Perhaps they're right towards the end of their sort of freshness date, but still worth buying and maybe freezing. When you buy fresh produce, you can freeze it straight away. And then you can use it at a later date. Or even when you buy fresh, you can batch cook. Now, this is something I love doing, batch cooking. So my top tip is buy smart. Have a think about some really simple recipes that you can Google. So Google is fantastic, isn't it? We can get on the internet and we can look for simple recipes, soups, stews, stir fries, those sorts of things, where you can bung more fruit, more vegetables in there, more herbs and more spices, to make it more diverse, make it more interesting, more flavorful, but also good for your immune health. So batch cook, but cook in advance. Give yourself a bit of time to find a recipe or two or three that's really simple, suitable for the whole family. So you can cook lots, you can freeze it. And actually, you know what? When you cook in that way, you can make meals stretch further. So you can add maybe a few beans, a few extra lentils, pulses, things like that, to make things stretch a meal further, add a little bit of extra protein and fiber in there. And you can you can make it interesting, you can have fun with it, because food should be really enjoyable as well as fueling the body. So I would say just use your imagination, get onto Google some recipes, and have a think about what interesting fruits and veg you might be able to get that are in season, that you can buy affordable at an affordable price. But think about how you're going to cook it, how you're going to store it, and then you can do it in smaller portions. So if it's just you're cooking for, do it in smaller portions so it stretches lots of different meals. Take them out the freezer as and when you need them. If you're cooking for a family, like I say, you can add extra beans and pulses and things like that to stretch it out, so that you're increasing the diversity, but also increasing the affordability and ease of cooking. I am definitely going dark now. So my top tip is think smart, think differently about your shopping and your mindset around eating healthily. You know, it's worth spending a little bit of time and effort and thought around putting a little bit of extra money that is going to make a difference to your health and well-being. But that's my mindset, you see. So my top tip is think about how vital, how precious your immune health, your body, your mind, how crucial it is to your well-being, to your life. Without your health, you can't really do a whole lot. So really make that investment of time and effort and a little bit of money if you need to, if you can, but do what you can, even if it's adding extra herbs and spices into that pot and making it stretch further, you're going to increase your gut bacteria diversity and therefore your immune health. But the power of food, I don't think can be underestimated. I think really, you know, we can all start with what we put in our mouth, can't we? We can all start with doing things differently. So it's about your commitment to yourself. So whoever's watching this, if you can commit to yourself and say, I'm going to make a little change, and I would say just start making one change at a time, makes it easier.
The small changes add up, and it is like you're saying about the money side of it. Now with organic, yes, it's expensive, sometimes a bit more than, you know, but there is a list called the Dirty Dozen, which is available online, and they're the foods that have got the highest levels of pesticides. So if you do want to buy organic, but you can't afford to buy everything organic, if you look at the list trying to do those ones, then that's the better way to go, because obviously you protect your immune system that way by having less pesticides coming into your body. So that's an idea as well. So if you can't necessarily, you know, stretch to buying everything organic, then just go down that list and see, okay, these are the top 5. I'm going to try and get those organic. So that's another way of saving. And then again, it's investing in your health, isn't it? So health is wealth. And if you're unwell, it costs a lot more to be unwell. You know, you've got to pay for medical bills or prescriptions or, you know, over-the-counter medicines that people will buy, or having to have time off work because you're not well. Now, if you add all those costs up, it's better, you know, better for your health anyway to be preventative rather than reactive. But if you do invest in the goodness of food, and hopefully you'll starve off illness, which obviously will save you money in the long run. So it is important in that respect. And so, yeah, going back to basics and whole foods. And when we say ultra processed, we do mean the things that are like got loads of ingredients, because certain foods have to be processed to a point, but in a healthy way, just to be digestible. So, you know, extra virgin olive oil is a form of processing because they've got an olive and they cold press it. So, you know, it's knowing that certain foods are processed. So when we were saying about the goodness being removed, the other thing that people could look out for, so they're not wasting their money, is the marketing thing of superfoods. You know, there is no such thing as a superfood in terms of being amazing. You know, it's all these foods that are out there, like your blueberries, your spirulina, and all that, are amazing things to have, and you can put them in your diet. You don't need to spend loads of money on a powder or a capsule or a tablet. They're in foods. So it's, again, get it through the food, you'll save yourself money, but it is just marketed very well. So again, it's the power of food, and that's how people know it. That's why they're harvesting it into little tablets. So rather than that, just get out a diverse amount of whole foods, plenty of fiber, plenty of vegetables and fruit, and you will have those so-called superfoods anyway. And you know, without the health washing, when you have things stripped out and then you have big labels saying, you know, we've added vitamin C or added vitamin D or whatever, and the only reason they've added it is because it's been stripped out in the process of making it. So there isn't actually added, it's just a marketing scheme. So again, you're paying more for something that is being branded, you know, better for you. And actually, if you just buy the food in the first, you know, the whole food in the first place, you're better off. Like you say, you can go on.
It's true. Natural is always best, isn't it? You know, you get something in its truest, natural, rawest form, if you like, then you are going to be getting it at its best. And you know what? It's not only about your immune health, even though that's what we're talking about today. When you eat these foods that are full of vibrancy and energy, you can see from the way they look, and how they feel. whether something is close to being alive as possible, you know, from its source, then when you eat like that, you feel different. And I think that's what's to be remembered here as well. It's how you feel, whether you feel well, whether you feel vital, whether you feel energy. And it is all about knowing that what you're putting in, you're actually getting a return on it, because you can feel it as well. I mean, you can't see your immune health, but you can certainly feel when you're feeling well and you're having less colds, you're having less coughs, less viruses. So I think for me, the biggest thing I would say to our listeners, because I know we're going to have to wrap up any minute, is that, you know, keep it simple, back to basics, whole natural foods as much as you can. But, you know, where you can't, look at alternatives, just shop smartly, think about what you can get from the freezer and what you can put in your freezer to help keep it fresh for longer. And, you know, think about it being an investment. It might be an investment of time, might be a little bit of money, but have a think about educating yourself to help you cook home cooked food that is going to be full of nutritious ingredients, and think about the diversity. So plant-based fibrous foods are obviously going to help your gut bacteria to be more diverse. And I think just with that, we talk about fibre, don't we? And I think about 90% of the UK population are lacking in fibre, and that is a direct link to your gut health and your immune health. So I think the more fibre, the better. And we get that through our plants, so and herbs and spices too. So, well, listen, thank you for listening. So thank you, Vicky, for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and your tips as well. And hopefully you guys watching have taken something from this. And if you want to speak to either of us, we can share our details. If you want to get in touch for some more information or advice. If not, hopefully that's you've just enjoyed today's little discussion. And go off, and we wish you good health and a strong immune system. Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.